Hello everybody and welcome back to watching Walford. I'm Ash, I've got morning voice, but today we're going to be talking about, does anybody actually think the show will be pretty dull once Uncle Stephen has left? Now the background of this obviously is Reid is a latest in a long line of serial killers, except he's from Canada and he's got a really dodgy accent. And the tone of this one, the tone of his entire thing has been really like campy. And, you know, in a pretty dire, like, Coronation Street year, I think it's personally been a fairly decent year, but I think some of the things hasn't really hit as well as I would like to. I think they are struggling a bit. You know, the Stephen Reid stuff, it's not been the best stuff. It's not been top tier. That's been the Ryan and Daisy angle. But, the Stephen stuff has always been very entertaining. And a Reddit thread says something just like this. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I actually think the storyline has been the most entertaining thing about the show for the past year, ever since he binned Leo. Obviously, yeah, he pushed Leo over a guardrail into a bin, and he died. Fucking hell. And the shenanigans covering up his crimes and trying to take over Underworld and accidentally drugging himself and being caught out on a serious lie over a bit of bread. It's just absurd fun to me. And honestly, I much prefer it to the more depressing storylines like Paul's, though. Sadly, it seems it'll be coming to an end soon. But like I said, I think the show will suffer for a while after he's left, given the only thing we'll have left is sad, real-world stories, or very bad attempts at light-hearted stories, like the Addie and Courtney one. Alright, so that's an interesting one to pick out there. Yes, it's been a very entertaining part of the show, admittedly very campy, but then again it kind of goes as to whether this is your kind of thing. I do love campy soap stuff, but this Stephen stuff, like the voice just ruins me, and it's just so over the top. But tonally, I think he thinks this is like some cool action story, so that's why I'm like, make it stop, please. But it's also been a good way to re-establish the Platts as a top family. I don't know. It's been there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad, but let's read some more. Yes and no, he is at least comical, and I think that carried the show, but the serial killer angle was pretty atrocious. Both in his killing of pointless characters, the lack of proper motivation, no level of real depth, the dull subplots like him and Elaine. I definitely think the show will have a hole without him in it. He's been in the most episodes this year and taken up most of the time, but while I initially loved him at this point, I'm kind of waiting for the story to end, especially now that we're at the reveal and we have to deal with characters crying over dead characters that didn't matter. I love Jenny, I'm already done with her grieving Leo. It's complicated really, the Stephen storyline could have been so much better, and I do think Stephen is smile-inducing, so that's something, but nothing in the story has actually grabbed me and say this is thrilling, like similar stories the show has done. It's all but a joke. A good joke at times, but still a joke nonetheless. With the show so centered around such an over-the-top killer, and everything else around it had to be just as ludicrous and fantastical. The tone of the show this past year has slowly been getting worse and more ridiculous month by month, so maybe the storyline ending can at least give it a bit more ground. But I highly doubt it. That said, I give a lot of credit to Todd Boyce, because I actually think he plays the character incredibly well and brings that panto vibe in a rather fun instead of an annoying way. So, let's get into that one a little bit more. Stephen hasn't actually killed any important characters. He killed Leo, who was with Jenny and barely an interesting character. He killed Teddy, Leo's dad, and he killed Rufus. Another, like, all three characters who were pretty much brought in to be a part of this storyline. Leo was there a little bit earlier. He was around the sinkhole stuff, but fundamentally, three characters who didn't really mean anything. Like, if he'd killed Elaine, you know, maybe that's fine. Elaine being Tim's mum. But he didn't kill anybody and didn't make any deal. And, you know, most killers don't. But at least some others kill some pretty established characters, you know? Pat Phelan killed off fucking... He killed... What the fuck's his name? He did kill some fairly... like... He killed Vinny Ashford. He killed that guy. Obviously not very thorough. He killed Luke Browning, who was there for a couple of years. Like, he, you know, he didn't kill the most people, but there are a lot of characters who were established at, I don't know. It's just kind of, And even Gray killed Kush, Gray killed Chantel, who was established in the plot, but, you know, still that, and Tina. Those are all three pretty big, important characters. Who did Richard Hillman kill? I'll see the gloved hand killer killed a lot of people. Like, I don't know, man. There's just a lot of stuff that's kind of really odd, and it's a bit weird, and I don't really like about the Steven stuff. It's really, it's weird because I love Coronation Street, I really do, but ultimately, like, it's one of those things where there's a lot of good, but there's also a lot of bad, and I wanna try and narrow down my feelings through this, going through these Reddit posts. Someone says, I hope he kills Elaine before he leaves. Why is everyone getting downvoted in the comments? Is Ian hearing something? That's the executive producer. He definitely gives me something to chuckle at night. Nice. Yeah, I'm gutted he'll be going. Absolutely hated him until the scene with David and the rooftop carrier on the cart, and I just got on him. So funny. True. Stephen will be arrested. He messes himself. Police argue about whose vehicle takes him to the station. Stephen will be beaten by the older brother of the drug dealer who sold the LSD to Stephen. Stephen will go to trial. Stephen weeps like a little baby, snot running down his nose. The entire street shows up to court wearing their Sunday best. Audrey blames Gail for everything, and then she has a few drinks to settle her nerves. Sarah falls for 3 or 4 bad guys she meets at court. Her calendar's full. Devin and Shona promise the kids to go to Disneyland in Florida, but David can't get a visa to enter the States using his criminal pass. Liz is embarrassed by her family and becomes bulimic. Gail is secretly pleased by absolutely everything. She knew that Stephen was a creep with Snickers like a little mouse. Max continues to search for peace, understanding the perfect hairstyle. Very good stuff. Very good stuff. Yeah, I agree. I'll be sorry when he gets caught. They could have done a lot of storyline. Something. The dynamic between him and Jenny is great. Opposites attract, and there are a few characters I wish he would have killed off. I don't think. It's kind of wild how quickly the soap, especially Coronation Street, it's quite impressive how quickly the soap turns around on their characters that they like. Like, last year, Addie was the breakout star, because he had that big stuff for Kelly before she left. It was really big, and it's, he's finally a man. He's finally a man. And then, well, now this year, he's been settled with the Sinead O'Connor, the person who plays her in Hollyoaks, is now on Corrie. Now he's the fucking worst. He can't act. He's awful. It's terrible. And it's like, I don't know about that, lads. You're taking away a lot of the charm of the character. It's like Daisy. I'm very on the record. Not that I made videos several years ago, but when Daisy was introduced, I went, I don't really like Daisy, but I like the amount of drama she causes. There's about one Reddit post that talks about this. Which I obviously archived because I'm petty as shit. But yeah, no, now, like 3 years on, she's been given the biggest storyline and has absolutely fucking nailed it. And now she's the best character. And all these people, I fucking hate Daisy, she causes shit. And then now it's like, I love Daisy, she's so good. Someone says, it'll definitely be boring. Corrie before Stephen was boring. Someone else says, pathetic nonsense comment. Delete. Oh, fucking hell. Just having a meltdown. The story is fine, just can't stand his voice and delivery. The accent and whisper thing, hard to explain to me. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Not the greatest actor either, will not miss in the slightest. I agree with this. It's funny, but it's like, for fuck's sake, it's really just weird. He gives me the heebie-jeebies. Lovely. So watching a couple months ago because of him, I can't wait to get back into it till he's gone. He's a fine actor. I just couldn't stand the story and the sloppy writing around it. It's been fabulous. On one hand, I'm glad the story is ramping up, but on the other, I know it's going to come to an end, which makes me sad. It's been a bright light in a crazy world. He's a murderer and has a really, really annoying voice, and that shouldn't be glorified. It's like when Pat died, I didn't think it would ever be as good, and it isn't. But Stephen has certainly made it worth watching. Best thing to happen to Corrie since Pat Phelan, and Roy's profits will certainly miss him. I don't really know what the room temperature is for that one, whether it is like on Stephen or against Stephen. A lot of people did enjoy this storyline. It's been a lot of fun in a fairly dour year of Coronation Street. Like, there's been some good highs, but there's also been some pretty low lows, and a lot of the Stephen stuff has been involved in the lows. Because ultimately they gave him the keys to the castle, but he only like slept in one room and didn't even make himself some food. Like, he didn't fucking do anything with all the space and the time he was given. But we're supposed to treat it like this was some big fancy fucking like elaborate storyline. He didn't kill anybody important. He didn't fucking do anything and affect anybody deeply. He didn't kill Audrey. He didn't do any of this. They pushed him right to the front, but they said, you're only allowed to use this stick. Like, yeah, but lads, I'm trying to fucking, like, pedal down the stream in a boat or whatever. Paddle. And it's like, yeah, well, maybe you should have thought about that. And it's like, lads, it's like, it's a devil in sheep's clothing, right? He's so out of the blue. He's so odd. He's so strange. With the accent and everything else. And it's just really fucking funny to see. It's really funny to see what they've done for it. But yeah, I'm just trying to see if anybody else is actually looking at the Stephen stuff on the subreddits. But ultimately, there's not too much going on. I suppose obviously the Stephen stuff is coming ahead on the 13th or the 14th. Yeah, there's not really too much extra. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting time to go through the thoughts and opinions on the Stephen Reid storylines. But ultimately, it's kind of just... whether you liked it or not, let's all agree that it did make for some fantastic telly. When he was thrown around the bins, when he's having a scream, when he fucking javelins something. Like, oh, it's absolutely gorgeous stuff. I could have made up that last one up. But yeah, sorry if this was a bit sloppy. I have decided to record this video immediately after I got up. So the morning voice is there. The nasal is here. So hopefully that goes fairly soon. But yes, will Stephen Reid's exit hurt? For me personally, not particularly. The voice, the lack of actual kills... the lack of really, like, whelming kills as well. Like, fucking... so he pushed a guy over a fucking bin. He smashed a guy with a fucking hole punch. And then he proceeded to drown a guy. Like, I don't know about that, Chief. That's just really fucking mid. You know, some kills are iconic. The Phelan kills are iconic. They're fucking despicable. Phelan gets a guy to kill someone else and then shoots him in the head anyways, thinking that he's gonna be safe now. You know, that clip of him shooting like Luke Browning's car and it going up in flames. Yeah, Richard Hillman's fucking spade. Doing. You have the gloved hand killer where she killed some of the most fantastic, some of the like really fun characters. That was absolutely fucking... I was just so upset. when they killed Dylan, absolutely fucking oh bloody hell, oh god, just because Trevor loved him, but Trevor never told him, so he never knew. just fucking But ultimately, Stephen just had a very dodgy accent and just didn't really kill anybody of any real importance. So I guess that's where we're currently at. He is departing the show in approximately 2 weeks, just like Emmerdale having a big stunt week. Coronation Street will have a big stunt week as well. Hopefully that's when we'll see the return of Bethany Platt, or at least fairly soon, because that would be super cool, and she has definitely been missed on the show. God, I'm so looking forward to it. But yes, thank you for watching. I've been Ash from Watching Walford, and will Stephen Reid's exit hurt? As just said before, no. But they do need to step it up a gear and ramp up some of these other storylines, because, man alive, like, we're ramping up towards Christmas, and it doesn't really feel like any other storyline's been built up that much. So, you know. But yes, that was a look at one of my babies, one of the soaps I truly love, that being Coronation Street. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.